All right. This is now I know this is entry number 8. I had to recount, so that's always nice. I hope you guys had a good New Year's, 2025. It's all that great stuff, I hope you also had a good Christmas and all. I hope you're doing good. I hope this year is the year you guys want it to be. I hope that you have a good year this year, And I just kind of want to get in the topic of I want to get in the topic of talking about family time and friend time, I feel like it's a very important thing to have, a good balance of both. If not, just spending time with somebody, Like I know in the last video I say you don't need anybody, but at the same time, you're hold on, let me even this out. Your family wants to see you, Like it might not feel like it. You're gonna have family that wants to see you, You don't always have to be stuck in your room bed rotting, because you don't need to bed rot to feel better about yourself. It might feel nice, staying a couple of hours in your room and all that stuff, but is that really gonna benefit you at all? Like, really? What benefit is coming from that? Apart from you feeling honestly, it makes you feel shittier. It feels like you're very unproductive and all that stuff, And I just feel like maybe take a step outside. I mean, it might be snowing right now like it is, but still, it's beautiful outside, It's good to spend quality time with your family, Like, I really wish that I had that with my family, because personally, I'm not home enough, my parents aren't home enough, and all that's left is really my sisters to be hanging out with each other. And I just feel like that's a very important thing to have, like enjoying the time that you have with your family and your friends, because it's always nice to have somebody, You shouldn't be dependent on having that person or those people, but it's always nice to have somebody to be with for a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't need to fully count on them and stuff, but it's always nice to keep somebody with you at most of the time, But that's not really the topic I want to talk about. I'm just saying, as like a different thing. But I do want to talk about is relationships. And that's one of the harder things to talk about, because it's a very complex thing, but not at the same time, just depending on the depth of level that you are in the relationship, Like, it's just really something you need to talk about, Like, does the person you're with or you want to be with compliment you? A person's never gonna be your other half, quote unquote. They're never gonna be something that completes you, You're complete yourself, but you need to figure out if they compliment you, They're something that helps you develop more into depth on who you are in a relationship, Like, what kind of person are you in a relationship? Are you a jealous person? Are you a very lenient person? Are you a very forgiving person? It's really that type of thing. Like, let's say people have more fun with you when you're not with your other person than when you are with them, That isn't a good thing, in my opinion. I guess being alone and stuff, like you one-on-one with the other person, is another story. But trying to mix those two worlds together is a lot harder. Because in my opinion, friends and your significant other shouldn't go together. Because then, let's say your friends also become friends with her, or her or him, or them, or then it becomes a little awkward, because over time you guys all build up a friendship together, including your significant other, and then you guys break up, or something bad happens between each other, and the other person tells the other person in the friend group, then now nobody knows what to really think, because then it starts getting messy. Then it starts getting really messy, and you don't know what the hell to do. because you don't want them to think you're a bad person, or you don't want the other person to think that they're a bad person to the friend group, you know? Like, that's just a thing that me personally, I don't want to do, because there is boundaries to a relationship and where you want to be. And there's also boundaries of your friendships and where you want to be there too, you know? Like, I get you're more comfortable with your friends saying about other topics that you feel like aren't appropriate to be talking with your significant other. And that's kind of where I'm going at, you know? Like, that's why I feel like they shouldn't mix, because it's gonna really fuck it up, especially if your friends or your other person tells vice versa, tells each other, you know? That's really what fucking blows at times. But yeah, that's one of the sections I want to talk about. Then there's also, are you sure you want to get into a relationship, you know? Like, are you ignoring red flags, or are you ignoring good things for the person, you know? Like, you'll always have to think about that. Like, are you overseeing red flags just because you want to be with that person? Because of how either they look or how they make you feel a majority of the time, you know? Like, should you really overlook it, or are you just very hyper focused on the good that you want to oversee the bad, you know? It's okay to let go of that relationship, because at the end of the day, it's going to get very toxic, and it's good to go away from that person, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's good to break up, you know, because maybe that isn't your person. If they're your person, they'll come back. They'll definitely come back, you know? A bird doesn't leave its nest forever. It stays there. It comes back, you know? It's exactly the same thing. You know, you'll know if it's the right person if they come back to you, depending on what the situation is, you know? Like, let's say they cheat on you. You know, nobody wants that. Nobody wants that at all, you know? You shouldn't be doing that. You know, and I know from experience, you know, like, I've done both, you know? I've gotten cheated on, I've cheated, and it's not a good feeling, you know, because then you have so many regrets, and you regret so much, because it could have been so different between you two, you know? There could have been so much great if either choices didn't happen, you know? It's okay to mess up, you know? You're human. You're only human. There's nothing else that you can really do or say to yourself, you know? Like, you either grow up and say, yeah, I fucked up, you know? Like, I made a bad choice, but I'm gonna grow from it with my next person, or if this person decides to forgive me, you know? Like, take it to the perspective of, you're the one getting cheated on, right? It's like soup. You have a bowl of soup, and somebody just pours a shitload of hot sauce in there. I don't like hot sauce. You know, I don't like hot sauce at all. I'm lying, by the way. I love hot sauce, but you don't want that hot sauce in there. But the more you put in soup, like, let's say you take them back, the more you put in soup, the less spicier it gets, you know? The more you put in and take out the spicy, then you're slowly gonna be back to being good, but it's not gonna be the same. It's the same soup, but it's not the same content in it. There's still gonna be trails of it, you know? There's still gonna be bits of it that you still haven't forgave of them, you know? And that is a learning moment, you know? Like, you really get to choose who you want in your life, you know? You shouldn't be settling for less, you know? You shouldn't be settling for bare minimum. You deserve a great person. You deserve an amazing person in your life, you know? Like, you deserve a person that is good for you, you know? You deserve an amazing person. And it doesn't matter what they did, but that comes from me being very forgiving with people. You know, I forgive the worst shit, you know? And I'm just that type of person, you know? I don't hold grudges, you know? I can't hold grudges because I can't stay angry with you. Like, I will love you until you force me to hate you, you know? Like, I can't, my body doesn't have the capability of hating somebody, you know? I can only be disappointed in you. And I feel like that is so much worse than hating somebody, because that's all you'll see is a disappointment. You know, you won't see any hatred. Hatred takes too much energy from you. Hatred pulls so much from you and it's draining, you know? And I feel like you should give that person space. Let them go, you know? You don't need to have that person in your life to continue living. It might not feel that way. Like, oh, I need you. I really do need you. But it's really not. You don't need that person to keep on eating. You might stop eating for a little bit, you know. You're gonna go through a depression, you know, because it's so mind fucking. Like, it is horrible not eating for days or weeks, you know. You just have to accept it. Accept what happened. Accept what went wrong. Accept what you could have done better, what they could have done better, except that it just couldn't work out, you know? Relationships are such a delicate thing because anything could ruin it. Anything could really fuck it up for you. And unless that person's as strong-minded as, let's say, you are, which is very unlikely, you know, you might not even be the strongest person mentally, you know, to look over mistakes, to look over things that have happened in the past, you know? That's just kind of, holy shit, it's snowy as fuck out here. But you just kind of have to look over it and choose whether to forgive them or not, or grow up, you know? Move on. There's going to be multiple people waiting for you, you know? Waiting to show you that love that you deserve, waiting for all of that stuff. Because you deserve the best. You deserve the best you think you deserve, you know? If not more. You deserve somebody that compliments you and not be your quote-unquote other half. You don't have another half. You're not missing a part, are you? No. You're just wanting somebody that feels the same way about you, you know, as you do them. And that's just a really hard thing to do nowadays, at least in my opinion, because there's so many people that are heartbroken, you know, there's so many delicate things going on in life right now that relationships are just really hard to keep stable because of other people's mistakes. You know, you didn't do anything wrong to the person you're talking to. You didn't do anything fucking wrong, you know, unless you did and you're not keeping your word. But other than that, you didn't do anything wrong. You're doing great. But you have to know that people come with damage, you know? Nobody comes at 100%. Nobody comes out any of this, you know? People come damaged regardless of how long it's been or where they are in life, you know? People come with so many obstacles. And you have to choose whether to continue to love them or if you want to love them, you know? Like, do you really see yourself in that relationship? Or do you just like the idea of a relationship? You know? Like, you really get to choose here. Do you want that? Or do you just want to continue dealing with more of other people's bullshit? You have to learn to choose yourself in the relationship. Otherwise, you're going to crash. You're going to crash horribly. You're not going to be happy. You're going to be very upset. You're going to be very sensitive to other things, you know? You just have to learn that. And it's a hard thing. I'm going to be honest. It's extremely hard to just accept the fact that maybe this person isn't for me, you know? I had to go through that shit, you know? I could tell you all these things about what happened wrong in all my relationships, you know, but you won't understand it until you go through it. You know, you have to realize you are worth so much more than just another person's kiss or touch. You know, you hold a great value to yourself, you know, you're worth more than anybody else. You have to hold yourself to a higher standard because you're going to let yourself fall if you don't. You have to be a strong person. And I just feel like it's a hard thing to do because nobody wants to give up. You know, you don't want to get cheated on and all that stuff. But let's say you're the person that did cheat. Why did you? You know, why did you cheat? And why didn't you just tell them how you were feeling instead? You know, I know it's a lot easier to do the wrong than to be honest and straight up with somebody. I know you hate confrontation, but you have to be honest with them. You know, that's the least they can deserve. You know, it's the straight up truth and honesty. And I wish that I did this before. You know, I wish I didn't do what I did. You know, I wish I was really more mature and didn't fall into temptation. But sometimes, you know, the bad is always going to seem better than the good. And that's just kind of how we're programmed, you know. God gave us free will, and we take full abuse of it. Because at the end of the day, you're not affecting yourself. You're affecting yourself spiritually, you know. Either that, or damaging your lungs, or damaging your liver. Pick your poison, you know. And it's just stuff that we have to grow up from, you know. Like, I'm not flaming your habits or anything like that, you know. You can do as you please, you know. Just be safe. Be safe with anything you do. But if you're the person that cheated, be honest with them, you know. Don't just keep on wasting their time leading them on. Be straight up with them, you know. And I'm sorry for the people that did. And I'm also sorry for the people that got cheated on, you know. I'm sorry that you did cheat on them, that you didn't have the mental capacity to stick with your person and be devoted to them, you know. I get you're not married, but you got with them for a reason, you know. It wasn't on accident. You did it for a reason because you were interested in them. But why would you have your eyes on somebody else if you went through all this trouble to get them to like you and all this stuff, you know? It's just, now I feel like I'm talking about myself because this is exactly what I went through, you know? But just know at the end of the day, you need to change yourself. You need to become better. Because nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody's going to help you in that type of predicament. You know, you either accept it and just move on. You know, don't do it again. If you're going to cheat, why be in a relationship? Why do all of this, you know? You shouldn't be wasting your time. We should be wasting their time especially. Because you're better than this, you know? You are better than doing something as stupid as that. And yeah. This is kind of really long but short episode. But I hope you guys have a good New Year's, or well, it already passed, but you know, 2025, baby. Just 2 more quarters and I'm out of high school. And yeah, I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll see y'all whenever I upload again.